little Sunday afternoon baseball in South Florida. There are some clouds in the area, but everything is high and dry here at Sun Life Stadium. The Marlins and the Diamondbacks have split the first two games of what is a four-game series. Perry Hill getting loose, getting ready, trying to shake it up right now. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Marlins got game one last night. The Diamondbacks in a homer fest won game two. The Marlins obviously have to approach this, Tommy, as hey, it's a four-game series. They have a chance to still win this series.
Yeah, it's hard to do that when you get beaten as badly as you did last night, and the fact that they were coming off an 8-game losing streak with the win the night before. But you're right. It's a four-game series. You have a chance to salvage the series before heading on to Philadelphia.
They'll have a better chance if Mike Stanton keeps hitting balls out of the ballpark. He's done it in 3 consecutive games. He's starting to get hot.
He's in one of those streaks. We talk about Mike Stanton, a streaky guy. Look at that. In his last 4 games, a 4-game hitting streak, but in his last 3 games, home runs against Jurgens, Saunders, and Ian Kennedy. Since May 1st, Mike Stanton has 14 home runs. That ties him with Big Papi for the most home runs since May 1st in the major leagues. And I guarantee all have been well over 400 feet.
You're not Big Papi. Let's talk about the pitching matchup in this one. Now, the Marlins have seen Daniel Hudson. That was in the series in Arizona. Brad Hand was still in Double-A and had no idea he'd be pitching this weekend during that series. Who's got the advantage in this one?
You know, I want to say the Marlin hitters should have a little advantage against Hudson because they have seen him. On the other hand, the only thing the Diamondbacks have seen with Brad Hand, they probably saw some video, but Hudson, keeping the Stanton theme, gave up a home run and a triple to Mike Stanton in the game in Arizona. But over his last 8 starts, Daniel Hudson has gone 5-1. He's been a solid pitcher for Kirk Gibson.
And, of course, Brad Hand gave up just 1 hit. It was a home run in his only big league start.
Yeah, I really like the way he settled down. Remember, he walked the first batter he faced. He settled in. He used his changeup, I thought, very well the last 2 or 3 innings he worked. And to mix that in with his breaking ball and fastball, let's see how Brad Hand goes after these aggressive Diamondbacks hitters.
And if you're watching in Florida or if you've got us on the dish or on MLB.TV in Chaska, Minnesota, glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon as the Marlins get set to take on the Diamondbacks. When we get back, all mic'd up, you know that Burke Badenhop is a talkative guy. Well, we reinforce that by just putting a mic on him and setting him loose during batting practice.
The garbage looking. Oh, guys, how's your conversation going?
Marlins a little hop in their step as they get set for this ball game against the Snakes. Speaking of the hopper.
Speaking of hopper.
How about this guy, Burke Badenhop? We love him on the mound. He's a likable guy off the mound, although he can talk a little too much.
He can talk a little bit. It depends on your definition of too much. But if you press the play button, he will go on and on.
Let's hit the play button.
And on and on.
go, I hope Sulcer's listening. And they go, who's that? I go, exactly. I go, I'm sure you've seen him. He just doesn't do anything. Think about how sweaty the back of this microphone.
This is for Craig Minervini. You need to get all new sweater vests. I repeat, all new sweater vest. Over.
I don't even know if it's on. Do you know Craig used to do WWE?
As in Craig Minervini, the guy that wears the purple. Yeah. I repeat, purple sweater vest. No bueno.
I mean, you'd think you'd have to be good looking to be on TV, but our crew just completely debunks that myth, huh?
No way.
No? Except for Niner does a good job. Really debunks that myth. I haven't used that in a sentence in a while.
Many times the hopper just keeps on talking, and no one in particular. Does that happen in the clubhouse too?
Yeah, pretty much. That's not made for TV right there. That's Baden hopping. I got to give him his $20 for give me some props there.
Yeah, he did give you some props, but we followed him around for about 45 minutes, and there virtually were no answers to his questions.
No answers, and if you added up all the dead air time, it'd be about 35, 40 seconds out of 45 minutes.
Hopper may play a role in this game here this afternoon as the Marlins go with lefty Brad Hand against tough righty Daniel Hudson. The winner of this game takes the lead in the series to tomorrow's closer. We'll have it for you next.
Moving forward by AT&T, by Checkers, Little Place. Big Taste, stand by Florida Power and Light. FPL is working to make its system stronger, smarter, cleaner, and even more efficient. Visit FPL.com to learn even more. All right, let's do this. On a Sunday, the Marlins and the Diamondbacks. Sun Life Stadium, Arizona, 35-30. Sunshine State and a good ball club. Playing hard, too, under Kirk Gibson. Warren Henry brings you their lineup. Willie Bloomquist slides in left field. Ryan Roberts down to the 2 spot. Justin Upton is playing hard and playing well in right. Stephen Drew at shortstop. Chris Young in center. The X-Man gets a start. Xavier Nady. Melvin Mora comes out to start at third base. Henry Blanco gets a rare start behind the plate. And Daniel Hudson hits in the 9 spot.
Well, to give you an idea of the depth that the lineup has for Kirk Gibson, Brad Hand is going to see that lineup in knowing that Miranda, Montero, Parra, Burrows, and Kelly Johnson, all left-handers, are on that bench. So a good job. We've talked about it from the 21-year-old out of Chaska High School in Minnesota. A guy that went out there, his first major league start. He had nice composure. He walked the first batter he faced, settled in, used his curveball, used his changeup. Remember in that game, John Buck had him behind the plate. This afternoon, it'll be Brett Hayes handling it.
So start number 2. Here is Willie Bloomquist, versatile, solid player, a guy that Kirk Gibson's able to plug in just about anywhere, and he's a plus defender just about anywhere he goes. Bloomquist leading it off, Hand delivers, and he misses up top with a fastball. James Hoy is behind home plate calling balls and strikes. You got Tom Hallion, Phil Cuzzy, and Bill Miller out on the bases as well. Fish and snakes in game 3 of a 4-game series. The Marlins winners on Friday night by a score of 6-4. Last night 9-5. And Hand having trouble getting a strike against Willie Bloomquist. Long balls have been the theme in this series. 10 homers in the 2 games, and a leadoff walk is never a good sign. Willie Bloomquist is aboard.
Well, we hope that Brad Hand settles in the way he did after he walked Jordan Schaefer leading off the game for the Braves. And we don't have to tell you the importance of Hand trying to take this game as deep as possible with the state of the bullpen for Edwin Rodriguez this afternoon.
Ryan Roberts, Justin Upton also scheduled to appear here in the first inning. Roberts has stirred it up for the Diamondbacks in this series. Last night, a solo homer to open the ball game, and he walked with the bases loaded in what was the pivotal 4th inning last night, the inning which was the end of Javi Vasquez. Diamondbacks got 6 runs in that 4th, and the walk to Ian Kennedy, then the bases loaded walk to Ryan Roberts were the killers.
And the tough part about the wildness early on for any pitcher, let alone one who's out there for the 2nd time in his major league career, you have to establish that fastball before you can start using the changeup and the curveball.
He'll go to first. Bloomquist will run. The Diamondbacks like to put the game in motion. 7 stolen bases for Bloomquist. And working on Ryan Roberts and some gum at the same time. Popped him up. Infante back behind the bag. And Omar with that smooth glove makes the catch. All right, you were talking about the state of the bullpen. For the Marlins, Leo Nunez did throw today. It went well. Maybe tomorrow, more likely Tuesday night in Philadelphia. Clay Hensley's still on the disabled list. Edward Mujica last night pitched well, 3 innings. Brian Sanchez pitched 2 1/3. So Mujica and Sanchez are out of the mix today, as well as Nunez.
And you hate to do it because you want to look at each game separately, but you do have to look ahead at that 4-game series in Philadelphia, the split doubleheader on Wednesday, and all the games are going to be played up there.
And the Marlins still need to announce and find another starting pitcher for that day-night doubleheader. Hand working on Justin Upton. Upton had an RBI double in last night's ball game, tripled on Friday night. It is hot and humid here, and in Chaska, Minnesota, it's 61 degrees, overcast with a chance of rain. We had a lot of representatives from the city of Chaska here when he made his major league debut. Craig interviewed the mayor.
Mayor Mark Winchell. I hope I'm saying that correctly, or I'll have the city council down on me.
Population, what, about 20,000, and they are south of Minneapolis. They have a decent golf course in town, don't they?
Oh, they've had the U.S. Open there numerous times. Hazeltine. It's a gorgeous golf course in Chaska, Minnesota.
Hand is 1-1 on Upton. Bloomquist still at first base. The scouting report for Hand coming through the minors is that he did not have a great move to first. Bloomquist got a big jump. Upton cracked it foul. I think the Marlins got a break there. It's 1-2.
Rich, we're going over possible starters for one of those games on Wednesday in Philadelphia. It will not be, because his name has surfaced a few times, Tom Kohler. Because Tom Kohler pitched last night against Memphis and went 5 innings and gave up 6 hits and 6 runs. And his ERA now over 5 in AAA for New Orleans.
So you start narrowing down candidates, and Eli Villanueva's name pops up. Maybe a Chris Sampson, guy who has some major league time. 1-2. And it's outside. And the other issue for the Marlins is whoever they bring up of those two, if it's one of those two, they've got to find room on the 40-man roster for him as well.
Because neither is on the 40-man roster.
There has to be a corresponding move. Willie Bloomquist at first increases his lead, not running, and Upton fouls it back. It's 2-2.
And of course, the other thing we'll be talking about will be the reemergence of Hanley Ramirez, who is eligible and should be ready to play Tuesday in Philadelphia.
Hanley's played in a couple of minor league games, was to join the club this morning.
Yeah, you can see not a great move, and that's what the Diamondbacks runners will try to do. They'll try to get that one-way lead, get out there real far to draw a throw to see what kind of a move Hand has.
Upton fouls it off. Upton doesn't look all that comfortable up there, and we talked about it. For major league hitters to see a guy they've never seen before is a little bit jarring these days, and with all the video and all the scouting. And so for a guy like Hand, it can be a bit of an advantage. Add to the fact that he's a left-hander.
I think nowadays, though, it's less of a surprise because of all the video.
They've at least got the video of his one start.
You know, before video, you'd be asking players, did you see this guy in the minor leagues? You'd be talking to other coaches, maybe making a couple of phone calls. You'd be trying all kinds of things.
Counts full, 3-2, 1 out. You would expect Bloomquist will be running from first. He's not running, and Hand walks Upton. So here comes Stephen Drew. Here comes the Marlins defense, brought to you by Warren Henry Automobile.
Well, there it is. Logan Morrison, Coughlin, and Stanton. Dobbs starting at third, Gabby over at first, and Brett Hayes, the one change behind the plate. And as always, on a Sunday afternoon, very bright sky. Now, the Diamondbacks, they've had a little advantage. They're doing it the old-fashioned way against Hand. They're seeing a lot of pitches. Now, he hasn't thrown a lot of strikes, but that's another way teams used to do it years ago. You try to wait out a pitcher, see what he has, and see as many pitches as possible.
And that's a real fear for the Marlins here, is that Hand throws a lot of pitches early and gives them a 4 or 5 inning start with a short bench and a short bullpen.
Because if that happens, then you know we will see Burke Badenhop, and he'll have to go a couple of innings, maybe more, and that takes him out of the equation for a little bit.
Stephen Drew last night with a home run in the 4th. That against Javi Vasquez. And he drills this one in the gap, right center field. Stanton after it. He won't get it. It goes to the wall. He'll pick it up. That may score 2. Bloomquist is in. Here comes Upton. Drew on his way to third, and he is out. Good relay by the Marlins. They get the out at third, but the Diamondbacks cash in with 2 runs.
Yeah, right there.
Well, when you fall behind, you have to use that fastball. Here it comes. It's up, and Drew jumps on it. He's their cleanup hitter. He's a solid hitter. He's had a good series against the Marlins, but a great relay. 9-4 to 5, and Drew trying to stretch it into 3 is nailed at third base.
So Chris Young now. And hands breaking ball is a strike.
And the 2 walks come in to score.
Hand in Jupiter last year and in Jacksonville this year. That one didn't miss by much, and it's 2-1. In fact, it didn't miss at all. All 3 of those pitches, according to Fox Tracks, in the strike zone. That one fouled back and out of play.
You realize the 1-0 loss suffered by the Marlins and Brad Hand was only the 22nd 1-0 loss in Marlins history.
A liner over the head of Bonifacio. Man, that was hit hard. Morrison a skidding stop and left. And Chris Young is aboard. Here comes Xavier Nady.
And I think most of us remember the last 1-0 loss suffered by a Marlins pitcher. Josh Johnson to Roy Halladay's perfect game.
Randy St. Clair's on his way out. And he's going to talk to the rookie lefty. Hand against Atlanta ended up going 6 innings. The one hit was an Alex Gonzalez homer that came in the 4th. And of course, the news and notes, the one oddity of that game is Hand, the second pitcher since the 1900s to, in his debut, give up just 1 hit, go at least 6 innings, and lose the game. Now Nady.
Well, he's given up more than 1 hit here, and he's going to have to really get better command, or he's going to have trouble today. It's an aggressive hitting ball club, and Gibson has a lot of righties in there, yet the biggest hit so far was by Drew, the left-hander.
And that's one of the advantages I think that Kirk Gibson has as opposed to Edwin Rodriguez. He's got a bench where he can start an Xavier Nady. He can start a Henry Blanco. He can start a Willie Bloomquist against a left-hander. And it changes the complexion of the lineup. And you've got guys who've been in the big leagues, know the drill, and can do some damage. Blanco has 4 homers. We've seen Nady homer in this series.
Yeah, Nady has 22 starts at first base. He can play some outfield if needed.
2-1 pitch in the air to right. And Stanton goes back. That ball carried all the way to the track. It's carried well the first 2 games of this series. Arizona up to a 2-0 lead. MLB.TV. We appreciate their subscribing. 89 degrees. You see in Phoenix it's 86. Look at the humidity in Phoenix, 13 degrees, or 13%. Warren Henry brings us the lineup. Chris Coughlin, Omar Infante, Logan Morrison, Gabby Sanchez, Mike Stanton, Greg Dobbs, Emilio Bonifacio, Brett Hayes, Brad Hand hits ninth. Chris Coughlin leads it off. He led off last night's ball game with a homer. And Daniel Hudson with that smooth delivery drops in a strike.
He has been on a pretty good roll lately for the D-backs. He's been giving them innings, 9 straight starts. He's gone 6 innings or more, and he's 6-1 in his last 9 starts.
Here's this 1-1. Coughlin pops it up on the infield. And Stephen Drew makes the catch. Here's the defense.
Brought to you by Warren Henry. There you go. Willie Bloomquist, Chris Young, and Upton. Melvin Moore, the veteran, at third. Drew and Ryan Roberts up the middle. Nady at first, and the veteran Henry Blanco behind the plate. And Chris Coughlin saw one of the pitches that Hudson features, a nice changeup. He kind of slings his breaking ball, uses the fastball, and has a pretty good changeup.
Omar Infante takes outside. Infante has 3 hits in this series. In fact, of all the Marlins on this homestand, Infante has the most hits. He's got a dozen on this homestand. That one caught the corner. Logan Morrison will follow. Hudson was the starter on the 1st of June when the Diamondbacks beat the Marlins 6-5. Mike Stanton was the guy that got to Hudson. 7 innings, 10 hits, 4 runs. Stanton hit a 2-run homer, had an RBI triple, and had a single. Hudson didn't walk anybody in that start. He didn't walk a lot of people to begin with.
Good changeup.
Down goes Infante.
Slinging fastball, pulls the string on the changeup. Bottom falls out of it. He really fooled Omar Infante. That's going to fool a lot of hitters. See the scouting report. Slinger, he does have that kind of delivery. The sweeping slider. Every once in a while, we were told he'll fall into a habit of throwing too many changeups, but it's a pretty good one.
Morrison takes a fastball for a strike. 8 homers now for Lomo, 24 driven in. Morrison an RBI triple and a single last night, so a 2-for-4 night. His average back up to 294. And Hudson's just pounding the strike zone right now. A real contrast to the first inning that Brad Hand had. Hand threw 26 pitches in the first inning. Only 12 of them strikes. 0-2 coming.
It's only the 3rd time this inning that Hudson's missed out of the strike zone.
Old Dominion. And Morrison smacks it down the right field line. Upton over to get it. Lomo with a single. And another line drive. So that mini slump that Morrison was in, he seems to have pulled out of it pretty quickly.
That's really key to see young players when they make those adjustments and go into slumps to minimize the slumps. And Lomo's done that. That ball drifts over the middle of the plate. And with 2 strikes, a nice compact swing by Logan Morrison.
Now Gabby Sanchez. Back up the middle, Sanchez into center field. Morrison will stop at second. And so the Marlins will bring Mike Stanton up with runners first and second and 2 outs here in the first.
And it looks like Gabby has just come out of his little mini slump that he was in.
He's got 4 hits in the series now. So does Morrison. So does Stanton. And 2 of those 3 hits in the series have been home runs. He's homered in 3 straight games. This was the homer last night on a high breaking ball from Ian Kennedy. It's a long way to hit it in this ballpark, and he did. It's Hudson. Change speeds on Stanton. It's 0-1. You see his 60-game numbers. If you add 100 to that number, you get the first 160 games that Mike Stanton has played in the big leagues. I told you about the day he had against Hudson in Arizona. He's hit 38 homers in those 160 games. Only 8 players to debut since 1910 have hit more over their first 160 games. Morrison and Sanchez aboard. 0-2 coming to Stanton. Fastball misses up. Some of those names.
Pretty good names on that list.
Yeah, Rudy York had 54. Mark McGuire, 49. Ryan Braun, Chuck Klein, Ryan Howard, Bob Horner, Tony Clark, and Frank Robinson. 1-2. Stanton pops it up. The first baseman, Xavier Nady, catches it. Marlins leave a couple and trail it after 1. 2-0.
Baseball está disponible en español vía Zap y es presentado por KFC.
In Miami today, young Brad Hand is making just his 2nd major league start. His first inning didn't go so well. A pair of walks and a pair of runs, both coming in on the RBI double by Stephen Drew. And he misses outside to Melvin Mora.
And he gets a couple of veteran right-handed hitters here in this inning. Mora followed by the veteran Henry Blanco.
And Daniel Hudson swings the bat pretty well. The pitcher who's due up 3rd. And this is the same pattern that Hand had in the first inning. He walked Willie Bloomquist. He walked Justin Upton. And then Stephen Drew banged one in the gap in right center field.
Comes with a 2-0 changeup. Do you remember against Atlanta, the Braves were very aggressive and swung at a lot of those high fastballs. It would have been balls.
Good pitch. A changeup against the veteran Mora on the downside of his career.
If he can start commanding that pitch, it'll make a world of difference.
Mora appeared last year with Colorado. 113 games with the Rockies. Into right field, Stanton comes charging in. Mike is there to make the catch.
Good job. After a couple of changeups, you saw the fastball, and Hayes moved inside with the target, and that's right where it was.
Here is Henry Blanco. Henry Blanco is one of those catchers that every year you're not sure where he is until the team shows up, and there's Henry Blanco as their backup catcher. Blanco is 39 out of Venezuela, and he pops it out into right center. Coughlin is calling, and Chris makes the catch. Blanco's been in professional baseball since 1990.
Got a little power surge going for him this year too.
Yeah.
4 home runs already.
4 home runs and 5 RBIs. Now Hudson, and don't sleep on him, because we saw in Arizona he swings the bat pretty well.
Got 7 hits this year, 5 RBIs. He has as many RBIs as his catcher today.
He's the, when Arizona made that big 3-way trade, which brought them Ian Kennedy, this is the second part of him, because they flipped Edwin Jackson. He hand walks the pitcher.
Boy, this is what Javier Vasquez got into trouble last night.
They flipped Edwin Jackson, who they got in that trade, to the White Sox for that guy, for Daniel Hudson. So Ian Kennedy and Hudson are the result of that 3-way trade.
It's not done anymore, but just little things years ago. If a pitcher walked an opposing pitcher, that was a fine. It's a small fine. It'd go into a kitty. Everybody'd have a good time at the end of the year. If you didn't get a sack bunt down, that was a fine. Put a few bucks in the kitty.
Jim Cott was a wealthy man at the end of the year.
No, he always got the sack bunt down.
That's right. 2-0, and Dobbs is going to come in and try to settle Hand down.
But it was Vasquez unable to throw strikes to Ian Kennedy last night, and that's when he got into trouble in the 4th inning. He then walked Roberts, and then the big bases clearing double by Kelly Johnson.
And in this ball game, a couple walks in the first, and a bases clearing double by Stephen Drew. See what kind of composure the young lefty has. Just 21.
I think sometimes, and as a perfect example, I would guess in the case of a 21-year-old out there, you're throwing to the pitcher, everybody tells you, okay, you got 2 quick outs, just throw strikes, and you try too hard to throw strikes.
Well, what was it Chipper Jones said when he was here on this homestand talking about positive thoughts? He said it's like the word shank. You just don't want to.
Just don't want to hear it.
Don't want to hear it or say it or think about it on the golf course. Full count. That means Hudson's moving. Driving to right center. Busy day already for Mike Stanton out there.
Got a break. May have been ball 4.
And he makes the catch. 4 fly balls out Stanton's way. 2-0 Arizona. consent of the fish. Marlin fans, just present your Miccosukee Ultimate Rewards Players Club card at the stadium box office starting 2 hours prior to any Marlins home game. Get a $10 discount on up to 8 infield box seats. Offer can't be combined, is subject to availability. Miccosukee Resort and Gaming. Get in the game. This game so far, Daniel Hudson has looked a lot more comfortable than Brad Hand. Hand has walked 3, whereas Hudson struck out 1, gave up a couple of hits in the first, but got Mike Stanton to pop out, and that ended the fish in the bottom of the first. Here's a look at Hand. Greg Dobbs, Emilio Bonifacio, and Brett Hayes in the second. Starts him with a changeup.
All of a sudden, a little down spin for Greg Dobbs. He's 0 for his last 11. And we talked about a veteran hitter. Hopefully we'll come out of things a little quicker.
That fly ball is going to twist away and bounce up into the seats.
And a nice play, well positioned.
They've got that whole section. That's I'll bet you they get more than one foul ball today.
It's a good chance. They've probably already gotten a couple balls from the bullpen. You know, the visiting bullpen is down there. Those guys usually are nice to the fans and toss a few balls up there.
Not much shade in the bullpen. That one's a section over. Yeah, you're right. Dobbs has kind of hit a patch here. Turned on that one pretty well. Reed Cornelius with a nice play. That one will
Reed got himself a foul ball.
Go up in the seats.
Reed was a good fielding pitcher. Showed it there.
Down goes Dobbs.
I think in Dobbs' case, he's just getting adjusted to being in there pretty much on an everyday basis.
Here's Bonifacio, and we saw Bonifacio start to fade, but all of a sudden he is perked back up. 4 hits in this series, 3 of them doubles. Takes down low as he's shortened to bunt.
Talking to Edwin Rodriguez before the game about leading off Bonifacio when Coughlin's in the leadoff spot. And Bonifacio, as a right-handed hitter, has a much better on-base percentage. His on-base percentage as a right-hander is over 400. But as a left-handed hitter, it's the same as Chris Coughlin's.
Count 2-1 here.
And I think in this case, you would probably rather have Bonifacio in this part of the order as opposed to leading off and having Coughlin down in this part of the order.
Bonifacio hits it well, and it's going to get by the center fielder, Chris Young. That should be 3. Bonifacio is at third base already. Man, that ball was hit on the line. It got to the wall. Young got to the wall with it. And Bonifacio actually made a turn at third.
That's his 4th triple of the year. This ball jumped. Line drive, shading a little bit in left center is the center fielder, Chris Young. He couldn't get to it. That ball got by him in a hurry. And it's a great feeling if you're Brett Hayes. You're on deck. All of a sudden there's 1 out, nobody on base. And as you walk to the plate, you start to formulate your game plan. Bonifacio's at third. The infield's going to be back. There's 1 out. This run's important to get in.
Hudson misses high, and it's 1-0. Part of the equation is that Brad Hand is on deck, the pitcher. There is one out.
I think with a 2-0 lead in the second inning, it's too early to start walking guys and pitching around guys.
Popped it foul, and it's 1-1. He's a couple homers, including a grand slam. He's driven in 10 and has 3 doubles. He seems to come up with a big hit for every start he's had. You go back to last Sunday against the Brewers. That's when he had his grand slam that got the Marlins back in a ball game against the Brewers. Here with the count, 1-1. Broken bat and a little liner back to Hudson, and that's not going to get the job done.
It's just part of those little things that we focus on some of the major stuff sometimes, but it's part of the little things we've seen on this homestand that, you know, maybe won't put the club ahead. They're not game changers, but they make a difference.
Let's see where the pitch was. It was up and in.
That's just that fastball that rides inside the right-handed hitters.
So now you got Hand up there. And as we talked about when he made his first start, those are this year's numbers. He had 2 at-bats in Double-A last year, but pitchers do not hit until they get to Double-A, and once they're in Double-A and Triple-A, it's only when 2 National League teams face each other. So though Hand did hit in high school,
and was a good athlete.
And was a good athlete. Not a lot of ABs. It's 1-2. Bonifacio's at third, 1-2 coming. Struck him out, and the Marlins waste a 1-out triple by Emilio Bonifacio and trail in this game 2-0. Billy's Bunch joins us now, a celebrity certainly, because he appears every Saturday on Billy's Bunch. He's going to join us for an inning. Brendan, welcome to the booth.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Hey, chip in as the inning goes on. Anytime
right.
you feel like saying something, just go ahead. Nudge me like Conine did the other day.
So, as a 14-year-old, to have a recurring role on a TV show, I expect everybody in the neighborhood, everybody at school, pretty impressed with that.
Yeah. A lot of my friends watch the show.
A lot of autographs? You signed a lot of autographs?
Not yet. Working on it.
Parents still make you take out the garbage and clean your room.
Still got to do my chores, yep.
That's good. That doesn't end. I got news for you. Ryan Roberts, Justin Upton, and Stephen Drew against Brad Hand here in the third.
You know, you're right about that, Rich. I still take out the trash.
Roberts popped out back in the first.
Have to do what you got to do.
Yes, you do. And Brad Hand has got to throw some strikes because that's been a struggle for him in this ball game. It was not in his first start. Roberts back foots one and hits it deep to left field. Morrison to the track, looks up, and that ball's gone. And the Diamondbacks now have a 3-0 lead.
Ryan Roberts has really gone long ball against the Marlins. And he's another guy. You were talking about Xavier Nady, how you can plug him in different positions. The same thing with Roberts, who's playing second base today. But a pitch up, a mistake pitch, and Brad Hand pays the price.
The Diamondbacks in this series now have 5 homers. The Marlins have 6. This is game 6 between the two teams this year, and already there have been 24 homers hit. Arizona's hit 13. The Marlins have hit 11. So it's been a long ball fest. Upton's been part of that. He had a couple in Arizona. For Roberts, his second of this series. Breaking ball for a strike. So are you a baseball player or
Yes.
just a broadcast celebrity?
No, I play baseball too. Yep.
So you're a little bit a fan of the game?
I watch it a lot.
A Marlins fan, or is there another team that
I actually root for the Braves.
really?
Yep. I'm a Braves fan.
Did you let the proper authorities know that before you signed up for Billy's Bunch?
I actually did not.
That's a smart
When you
move.
filled out that questionnaire, you forgot to answer that, didn't you?
Left in NA.
Who's your favorite player?
Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
That's a good guy.
He's a lot of guys' favorites.
Here's Stephen Drew now.
Rich, as you can attest, for Brendan, great experience because anytime you can do something on the air, you know, radio, TV, it's just great to put on that resume, and it helps. It's great practice.
So is that something you aspire to do for a living?
Yeah, this is fun. I enjoy doing this. So.
It is fun. Drew's double in the first put the Diamondbacks on top 2-0. Hand just misses. Well, we'll tell you a secret. Neither Tommy or I thought about broadcasting when we were kids. He had a major league career. Mine ended after college, and decided that this would be more fun than working.
Can't get much better than this, except on the field.
Counts 2-2.
Now, do you get excited, Brendan? I'm sure you have. You've seen some of the renditions of the new ballpark. Are you getting excited to see the new ballpark?
Definitely got to go see some games there.
Then you may not be a Braves fan so much. Here's a good look at the over 70% complete.
It's going to be nice.
Ground ball into left. And Logan Morrison picks it up. So give us an insight on what goes on both on the show in terms of what fans see, and maybe some behind the scenes stuff that a little more of the tabloid stuff from Billy's Bunch.
A lot of fun stuff, a lot of goofing around. It's just been a fun season.
What's been the highlight for you this season? Any features, any interviews?
The funnest thing probably was playing golf with Clay Hensley. That was a lot of funny things. A lot of funny things going on.
He can
there.
play a little bit too, can't he?
He killed me.
Yeah.
I'm not a big golfer.
Were you involved in the bubble blowing contest with Brett Hayes?
Yep, that was me.
And we saw that on Marlins Live. How many sticks of gum did Hayes stick in his mouth? I mean, all I saw were like about a dozen, and then I stopped watching because I was starting to feel ill.
He had to go between, I'd say, probably like 8 to 10. He loaded up.
And what was the end result on that?
Did he clearly win the contest? Or was it
I
close?
thought I was close.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely
How many
won.
pieces did you go with?
I went 5.
5?
Mm-hmm. Didn't want to get too much. Guess the more there are, the better.
Rich and I tried that up here one time, but it got all over the mic.
It went all over my mouth.
That one pops out of Brett Hayes' glove, and Drew trots on down to second.
I would imagine Rich a pass ball. Brett upset with himself. Looked like a ball that should have been caught. And he doesn't adjust. He doesn't bring that glove the other way. Tried to stay with the backhand, and the ball really sailed on him.
Young singled in the first. Hand already is at 59 pitches here with 1 out in the third. That one's cracked into left. Morrison got a good jump. Runner is held, and Morrison makes a good strong throw that is cut off. That's one of the things about Logan Morrison. He is a converted first baseman, but not many first basemen have a type of arm that he has. He can throw it.
Well, he also has made that nice adjustment for an outfielder that maybe has been an infielder. He approaches it like an infielder. He gets a good jump. He charges ground balls, charges base hits. And because he got to this ball so quickly, it was hit hard. And because the respect is out there for his arm, his throwing arm, a good accurate throw. And Matt Williams, the third base coach for the Diamondbacks, held the runner at third.
Matt Williams almost made contact with the runner at third in trying to hold the runner. He nearly tackled him, and that you can't do that. The third base coach can't stop or help a base runner at all.
See, Stephen Drew right there is telling Matt Williams, don't get that close. Don't touch me.
Yeah, and Matt Williams is telling Stephen Drew, don't tell me what to do, young man. Matt Williams was a hard-nosed.
Yes, he was.
And a terrific ball player. Third baseman for the San Francisco Giants and for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So at the corners now. And here is that professional hitter, Xavier Nady. And Hand sure could use a ground ball here.
Well, he just hasn't had the command that he had in his first start. Falling behind. Good change up there to start Nady with.
Oh, 1. That will be deep enough to score the run. Both runners are tagging. At first it's Young, and he will hold there. Coughlin gets it in. And the Diamondbacks have put 2 more on the board here in the third inning and lead it 4-0.
And that goes back to our conversation, Rich, and the way you identified Xavier Nady. That's what a professional hitter does in that situation. Gets a fly ball deep enough to get the run in from third.
And of course, in contrast, the Marlins had that similar situation in the bottom of the second and could not get that run home. Mora now is 0 for 1. And Young is at first. Hand goes over. Brendan, what position do you play? Where do you play your baseball?
I usually play center field, little third base, and I pitch a lot too.
And so what else is keeping you beside with baseball and Billy's bunch for the summer? That keeps you busy all summer?
I hang around with friends a lot.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Good friends, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay out of trouble.
My mom always told me to hang around with good people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had a few. Runner goes, throw to first, and he is going to be out. Marlins got him. Well, Brendan, we appreciate you for coming on.
No problem. Thank you.
Billy's
Thanks a
Bunch
lot.
is a good show. To be 14 and be a TV star is just out of the realm of possibility for Tommy and I. It's just incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Brendan.
All right.
Thank you.
Way to go, buddy. Good luck. They've been able to get runners on, get runners in, and they've got a big, strong right-hander on the mound, Daniel Hudson, who has thrown well in his first 2 innings. Top of the order, Chris Coghlan, Omar Infante, and Logan Morrison.
Yeah, the bottom line, Rich, for concerned fans, for Edwin, the bottom line to stay in games, and the Marlins did stay in most of those games they lost, but it all begins with that starting pitcher. And last night with the problems with Javi Vasquez, with the struggles today of Brad Hand, a tough schedule, you put those things together, it doesn't mix for a lot of wins.
And the Marlins, who thought they had a ton of depth at the AAA level when they broke camp, have found that they don't, simply because you've got injuries to Alex Sanabia, who pitched in the big leagues and pitched well last year. Sean West, who has some big league experience. Both those guys hurt. And the 2 guys that had great years last year at AA in Solid Springs, Eli Villanueva and Tom Kohler, their transition from AA to AAA has not been as smooth as they had hoped. Coghlan takes outside. The count's 2-2. Chris popped to short his first time up. Marlins do have 3 hits against Hudson, but they have stranded 3 runners, 2 of those runners in scoring position. And Coghlan strikes out.
And after a start of 18-9, the Marlins have gone 14-22.
Now here is Omar Infante.
And then you throw that in, some inconsistent pitching, with really only a couple of guys hitting well with runners in scoring position, Gabby Sanchez and Greg Dobbs. The others in the lineup very inconsistent, low 200s. You throw that in with a short bench.
Ground ball in the hole at short. Drew, long throw. Infante's going to beat it. And Omar's got his 13th base hit of this homestand, his 4th of this series. His bat is starting to look a lot more like the bat the Marlins expected when they made that trade. And you get a sense that Infante, in another month, is going to be hitting 270, 280.
Well, he's up to 260 now. Good effort by Stephen Drew. But no chance on that infield base hit of Omar Infante.
But the Marlins and Edwin Rodriguez concerned about that leadoff spot. Finding someone that can consistently get on base from the leadoff position. Logan Morrison takes a strike. Morrison lined a single to right back in the first. Counts a ball and a strike. We can check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, Logan Morrison, baseball today and basketball tonight. He's going to be going to the Heat game. Game 6 against Dallas, courtesy of a fan that he met. Typical Lomo. He met a guy named Dan as a Marlins season ticket holder last year. They the gathering and saw him at Game 2 of the series. And Dad said, "Hey, if you need a ticket to Game 6, let me know." And he did. So he'll be going with Dan. But he also said the atmosphere was great. And he said, "I can't wait to see what the atmosphere is like when we get into the playoffs, either here this year in this stadium or certainly down the road in our new stadium."
So it's a busy day. He'll have a lot more fun tonight if he has 2-3 hits in this ball game and the Marlins win.
Well, he's off to a good start, and it will be a fun night. Game 6.
Fonte at first, 2-2 coming. See how Blanco is set up way outside. Hudson hit the glove, but it's 3-2 now.
Generally, when a catcher sets up drastically outside or inside, you'll see a fastball. You're not going to set up outside for a changeup or a slider.
And a lot of hitters, if you set up early, a lot of hitters with maybe a little bit of a peek back can figure out exactly where you are set. Morrison lifts a pop-up out into shallow left. Long run for Bloomquist, and he dives and makes the catch.
And believe it or not, that was the first 3-ball count for Daniel Hudson.
I'm not sure where Stephen Drew, the shortstop, was going on that ball.
He's going over to second base.
Ah, there he is.
And now he shows up. Bloomquist had a long way to go and shows his athletic ability. Remember, we told you he can play all over. He's played shortstop.
Bloomquist was looking up for help.
There was none around.
No. Where are the infielders? Now, he's a guy, Bloomquist is a very good defender wherever you put him. There's a liner foul off the bat of Gabby Sanchez.
Melvin Moore at third base. He was saying, "I'm 39. I played with Conine. I can't get there." It's all yours.
Gabby singled in the first. He's behind the count, 0-2. Cubs and Phillies are underway in Philadelphia, and the Cubs have scored 3 early runs thanks to a Aramis Ramirez home run, his 4th of the season.
That's a Roy Oswalt start. It looks like, and everything's kind of unofficial, the Marlins Tuesday, because the Phillies have Monday off while the Marlins are playing the Diamondbacks. It looks like the Marlins will see Hamels on Tuesday, Kendrick and Halladay probably in the night game, and then Cliff Lee on Thursday.
All in the span of about 48 hours. Gabby drives that ball into right center field. Dropped! Upton got there, and it popped out of his glove. Upton had a lot of things to think about. He was battling the sun, obviously. But I think he also saw that Omar Infante was not going back to first base and was thinking about the double play. Oh, excuse me. There are 2.
I think he just got running, just got it on the wrong part of the glove. It'll be an error, so Justin Upton charged with an error, E9 in your scorebook.
Here's Stanton now. And Mike, with 2 out, he pops it up. Nady makes the catch. So the Marlins leave 2 more. They've left 5 and trail at 4-0. Smarter, cleaner, and even more efficient to offer reliable service today and for years to come. Visit FPLConnect.com to learn more. Tough day so far for Brad Hand. He's given up 4 runs on 5 hits in 3 innings. He is at 63 pitches. Bottom third of the order, Melvin Mora, Henry Blanco, and then the pitcher Daniel Hudson. Mets are in Pittsburgh. That game scoreless in the 3rd. Braves have put 2 on the board in the top of the 1st against Houston. Dan Uggla has homered.
You know what? He's been hitting in the number 2 spot, and I noticed he had a couple of singles. First time in a while, even a 2-hit game. He was 2 for 3 last night.
His 8th homer of the season. Atlanta scored a bunch of runs, leaving extra innings last night.
McCann hit a 3-run homer in the 10th
to beat Houston. So the Braves stay hot. Behind the mound, Infante makes the call and the catch. AT&T trivia question means the phone will be flipping. See how you all do. What's the origin of Baxter, the Diamondbacks mascot, as opposed to Baxter, the dog from Anchorman?
I'm not even sure if we Googled that we could get the answer.
Remember that famous phone call? Baxter, is that you? Bark twice if you're in Milwaukee. That you, Will Chamberlain? Breaking ball strike. And it's 0-2. So it's not Baxter the dog. It's Baxter the Diamondback mascot. And he's not a snake, as Blanco swings and misses. Tom Hallion down at first with the call on that one.
I'm reading some sad news on Baxter when I Googled Baxter.
Baxter the mascot?
Yeah. And I don't know if he was the original Baxter, but the 09 Baxter was let go of his duties.
There were some issues?
He had some issues. He was driving while intoxicated. Had a DUI.
In his costume?
Not sure.
It's a strike. It's 1-2. Ever since you got that iPhone, it's just like you never know what's going to pop up there. I don't think that's what the trivia question had in mind. 2-2. Hudson fouls it off. I guess the tough thing, if you're the Diamondbacks and you wanted a mascot, it would be awful tough to have a snake walking around the ballpark, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Be kind of scary, too.
The answer when we get back, 4-0 Arizona.
Yeah, and also, of course, we call Bank One at one time before it was Chase Field. It was called the Bob.
Okay, so the Bobcat-like mascot is a combination of the stadium's first name, which was Bank One Ballpark, and D-backs. I don't get that. If that was the case, wouldn't it be Boback, or? I think they just needed something other than a snake.
Yeah.
And Bobcat was a solid choice.
Slithering snake mascots don't get pulled over, though, by the Arizona Highway Patrol.
No, but they have a lot of difficulty getting around at ballpark. Greg Dobbs, Emilio Bonifacio, and Brett Hayes. 4-0 Arizona on top in the bottom of the fourth.
You know how we talk often about certain parts of a game, you get to the third, fourth, fifth inning, and we say there's still time. And number one, there's still time for the Marlins, 4-0. And there's still time for us to regroup after the Bobcat episode, Baxter episode.
Two-0 pitch. And it's 2-1. Dobbs, the strikeout in the second for Hudson. One of 4 strikeouts in this ball game. And the 24-year-old out of Virginia Beach looks good.
You know, he's the kind of guy that goes on streaks. We talked about it in Arizona. The last 2 months of the season last year for Hudson, he went 7-1 with a 1.69 ERA.
And a changeup finishes off Dobbs. So Dobbs has struck out twice. 5 for Hudson. Tickets of America poll: which summer climate do you like best? Miami, hot and humid. Phoenix, hot and dry. 789 789. Standard rates apply. Bonifacio tripled back in the second. Hudson had in 2009 a vagabond type year. He started in low A, was promoted to high A, then promoted to double A, then promoted to triple A, and then finished the year pitching for the White Sox. Last year, made 17 starts in Charlotte, AAA for the White Sox. Bonifacio, a chopper. Roberts gets him. And then also pitched for the big club, and that was before the Edwin Jackson trade that brought him to Arizona at the tail end of last year. And that streak that you talk about, 7-1 to finish 2010.
You know, and you add up all of his stops last year, Charlotte with the White Sox, and then with Arizona, he threw almost 190 innings. And that was as a 23-year-old last year. And it certainly looks strong this year.
Counts 1-0. Craig Minervini here somewhere. Craig, what's up?
Hey, Rich, Brett Hayes worked all offseason on lowering his hands. Take a look where his hands are. His issue was his hands were kind of locked when he locked very high, and he had a longer stride. So all offseason he worked on the short stride, getting the foot down, but most importantly, lowering his hands. And he said it got ridiculous. He would be, you know, at a family's house, and he'd go outside his mother's house and look for his reflection. And he's hitting the ball like that. He'd look actually right in the window, go outside in the backyard, no baseballs, just a bat, and constantly practice. And they're like, Brett, it's Thanksgiving. Come on in. And anywhere he went, he traveled with a bat, and it looks like it's worked. That little short string has really paid off for him this season.
It was like if Brett put the turkey leg down and come on in. But you know what? That's a great swing there, and he's thinking in his mind right now, I guarantee he's thinking, why couldn't I have done that the last time up?
Yeah, he had Bonifacio at third and one out. And now Hand is up for the second time, and he takes outside. And Hayes continues to, when he gets a start, a spot start, and it has been spotty, he continues to hit.
Yeah, this is Brett's ninth start. The team has gone 4-4 in his previous 8 starts.
Hudson just pumping in strikes to Hand, who struck out in the second. Got a piece of that one and fouls it back to the screen. Pulls that ground ball over towards the second baseman. Roberts flips on over to first, and the Marlins strand their 6th runner of the game. nice running catch. Foxmo. Willie Bloomquist, Home Depot, doing more on defense. Fifth inning rolls around. There is Willie. Bloomquist grew up in the Northwest and played for a long time for the hometown club up there, the Seattle Mariners. He's 33.
Yeah, we also told you he is versatile. He's started in left field. He started 9 games at shortstop this year.
Was a star at Arizona State. Port Orchard, Washington. And he asked me when we were in Arizona, he said, hey, do you know anybody that can take us fishing on Sunday night? And so Willie's got a fishing trip planned after the ball game.
His career, and it's been a solid career, but it has been hampered by too many trips to the disabled list. Been on the disabled list 7 different times.
One and one. He's a guy that always wanted to get to the National League. He didn't mind playing for the Mariners. That was big because he grew up there. But his skill set really fits here in the National League because he can come in late in the ball game and play anywhere. You can start him anywhere.
He has played. He's one of those guys that's played every position except pitcher and catcher.
He owns, in reading about that, he owns 9 different gloves. Did get to the National League a little bit with Cincinnati last year, but also was with Kansas City. 2-2, hand to Bloomquist. And Willie fouls it back. Brad Hand's afternoon has been a little bit uneven. He did strike out a pair to finish off the 4th.
Well, he came into this inning having thrown 76 pitches. That pitch count up to 81 now.
I mean, you're right. I think you nailed it right off the bat. He was unable to command his fastball from the get-go, and once that was established, he's really been unable to throw that power curve in spots where he'd like to.
Let's see what he throws here. 3-2. Again, the fastball, but missing with it.
Second time that Bloomquist has walked. And Ryan Roberts is coming up.
Didn't miss by much. Very close. One of those could have gone either way, but when you've been around the plate all day and you haven't had that pinpoint control, it usually goes the way of ball 4.
Roberts is homered and popped out. Remember, Bloomquist runs well. JM Lexus presents leaders of the game. The Diamondbacks have clubbed 76 homers. That is first in the National League. They lead the Brewers by just 1 at JM Lexus. Price made us #1. Click jmlexus.com to find out how. Well, the new Yankee Stadium continues to be a home run park. Counts 0-2. Distance-wise, the new Marlins ballpark will be similar to this in terms of outfield dimensions. Not exactly like this, but it'll be big, especially in center.
I think the unknown, because keep in mind the differences when the roof is open and when it's closed, the unknown is how the ball will carry.
One-two. Missed in. Marlins bullpen working. Burke Badenhop there. Remember, Brian Sanchez and Edward Mujica had to go yesterday extensively with a short start by Vasquez. 2-2 pitch. Bonifacio battling the sun makes the catch.
Nice 2-2 changeup. Yeah, what you have to do in this case, and that's why the bullpen is busy. 4-0's not out of hand, and you don't want to let this game get out of hand at this point.
Here's Upton now. He has walked and popped out. Justin Upton signing a large contract extension through 2015. Coming off a solid year last year, and of course an all-star season in 2009. You see what he's done against the Marlins this year.
In the 09 season, Upton hit 300. Better changeups this inning. Got Roberts to pop up on a good changeup. That was a good one there to Upton.
One coming. I'm going to throw to first. I would expect that when he and his brother BJ get together, that now Justin is the one picking up the lunch tab. It used to be BJ who got to the big leagues first, but Justin has the long-term contract. BJ making close to $5 million, signing with the Rays, avoiding arbitration this year. Runner goes, fouled at the plate.
Runners are getting huge jumps off Brad Hand in this one. Bloomquist probably wouldn't have had to slide. He had that big a jump. But the pitch being fouled off, the Marlins get a little bit of a break.
And that's something that will get around the league very quickly as well, as a scouting report in terms of pitches and pitch sequence.
It's also something that I'm sure is weighing on Hand's mind a little bit, knowing that he hasn't held runners well. And if you start getting your focus away from the hitter and thinking about that, then you're going to get yourself in trouble, especially with a guy like Upton up there.
Let's see if Bloomquist is running here. 2-2 with one out. Sometimes it is said about a left-handed pitcher who doesn't have a good move, his best move is no move. It's just to get to the plate quickly.
Some left-handers who don't have a good move will give you that step-off snap throw to first base, and then work on their quickness to the plate.
It's 3-2 now, so the likelihood is that Bloomquist is going to be running with one out. He's not, and that pitch is a couple feet outside, and Hand is really struggling.
Well, they tried the 3-2 changeup that time. Remember, he missed with a low fastball 3-2 to Bloomquist.
Stephen Drew had a big hit in the first inning after 2 walks, a 2-run double. Singled in the third, and he scored on the sacrifice fly by Xavier Nady. There is an out here in the 5th. And the throw almost got him.
Wow. That was close. Good communication. Bonifacio snuck in behind the runner at second base. Bloomquist got the attention of Hand. turned and made a pretty good throw.
He was looked like he was running.
Tell you what, that's close. But looked like he got his hand in. Bloomquist.
This could be the last hitter that Hand faces, because you've got the right-hander ready in the bullpen.
You got him at 95 pitches.
Hand's spot doesn't come up in the order for another 9 hitters. So this could be it. Just a solid stroke by Stephen Drew.
The pitch that we haven't seen today that we saw a little more of his last start in his debut is that breaking ball, the curveball. Seen changeups, inconsistent, some good, some bad. The fastball has been okay, but again, inconsistent with his location, because he needs that breaking ball against his left-hander, Stephen Drew. I think it was Freddie Freeman he froze to strike him out in the Atlanta game with a nice curveball.
Ground ball up the middle, brings Infante right to the bag, and that's a nice double play and a good exit for Brad Hand in the 5th inning. Still 4-0 Arizona. That Checkers double play gets him out of the inning.
Well, he gets the left-hander Stephen Drew, rolls over on a pitch out away from him. 4-6-3 on the double play. That was nicely turned. Our Checkers double play of the game. And a good job by Brad Hand to get that pitch and to get Drew to hit that ball.
Now the Marlins trying to get something going against Daniel Hudson. 3rd at bat for Chris Coghlan. He's 0 for 2. And off the end of the bat, a pop-up out to the shortstop. Been a tough day for Cogs. He's popped up twice and struck out.
This is where I can vent and start to have a problem. I think you've learned over the years with me that I don't have too much of a problem with first ball swinging. But when a guy hits a first ball, first pitch, and he hits it off the end of the bat and pops it up to the opposite field, to me, that's not the kind of swing I want to see on a first pitch fastball. And we've seen that a couple of times. Mike Stanton's happened to Stanton. It's happened to Chris Coghlan. If you're going to swing at that first pitch, have a rip and pull it foul if you do anything. Don't pop it up to the opposite field. Now that's my rant for the day on Kids Sunday.
We should sponsor that. Here's the 0-1 into center field. And it is Chris Young. And I might say, since it is Kids Sunday, you kept it pretty clean.
Well, I did, yeah. I knew it was Kids Sunday. That's why.
If this were late night with the fish, he'd still be going, folks. Here's Logan Morrison now. Morrison has singled. And he hit the pop-up that Bloomquist made the sliding catch on.
Don't let me have that rant in L.A. or San Francisco.
Strike to Morrison. Hudson is approaching 70 pitches. And Lomo dumps that one into left field. So Morrison has 2 more hits in this ball game. He's got 5 hits in the series. And that'll get Gabby to the plate. Gabby reached on an error in the 3rd on the ball that Upton dropped in the gap, and he singled back in the 1st. Hudson 5 strikeouts, and he hasn't walked anybody. Marlins don't have a run, but they've had plenty of base runners. In fact, they've had a base runner in every inning, and they have stranded 6. Two and 0.
Yeah, Logan Morrison's base hit got him back over 300.
And you'd love to get Stanton to the plate in this inning. Three and 1.
See if with a 4-0 lead, Hudson comes back with a 3-1 fastball to Gabby.
Morrison's at first. 2 outs.
He did.
And it really ran in on him. So it's full now at 3 and 2. Logan Morrison on the move. And we'll see if Hudson figures with a 4-run lead, he can challenge him again with a fastball. Gabby pulled it, and it was not the heater that came in at 88.
Not sure what that was. That just might have been what pitchers call a BP fastball. Just take a little bit off the fastball. Hitter will be out front, which Gabby was. His changeup's a little less than that.
It's down low. So here comes Stanton with runners first and second. The Marlins searching for a big hit.
First walk of the game issued by Daniel Hudson.
Stanton twice has popped to the second baseman, Ryan Roberts. In Arizona, Stanton had a 2-run homer, an RBI triple, and a single against Hudson. So he had 3 hits against Hudson there. He's 0 for 2 today. He's hit some balls a long ways on this homestand. Right now, the Marlins would love him just to drive one in the gap, knock one in the outfield, and get the scoring started.
What was it? The Diamondback scouting report on Mike Stanton was that he had Herman Munster power.
There's a high pop-up Drew and Mora, and they're both there, and it's Mora that makes the catch. And the Marlins inning dies. 2 more left. That's 8 total.
Fans, log on to JiffyLubeCatch.com for a chance to enter the Play Catch with Me Gabby Sanchez sweepstakes. 2 winners will be selected to play catch on the field with me prior to the June 21st game against the Angels. Log on to JiffyLubeCatch.com today. Jiffy Lube, the official oil change of the Marlins.
Nicely done, Mr. Sanchez. The Marlins right now in a frustrating ball game, and a ball game that has kind of been commonplace on this run, which has seen the Marlins fall all the way to 1 game over at 32-31. Burke Badenhop comes out of the bullpen, and he takes over for Brad Hand. 5 innings for Hand, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, 5 walks, and 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, lost today, and the Marlins will draw even with 500. And once again, the reoccurring theme, 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position today.
Marlins have left 8 on base. Chris Young has a couple of singles. Badenhop bends one up there for a strike. Hope you had a chance to hear Burke Badenhop mic'd up on Marlins Live today and last night. The Hopper during batting practice. Social guy to begin with, but drawing a lot more company once everybody realized he had a microphone.
Yeah, I guess the best way to put it is the Hopper was socializing the old-fashioned way.
Hey, he wasn't tweeting. It's a nice play by Dobbs.
Yeah, no Facebook stuff, wasn't on the cell phone. He was just up front and personal.
What were the highlights of Hopper being mic'd up? One was asking Brad Hand if he had a suit because of the upcoming road trip. I loved when he walked over to Volstad and Josh Johnson and said, "Oh, I'm over here in the big and tall section." He was all over us, actually, the Marlin broadcasters. Although he did qualify that with saying Conine's okay. I think a lot of that has to do with the interaction that he has with Conine on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think we'll talk to Hopper about that on the flight to Philadelphia, perhaps. Pretty good pitch there.
That one missed outside. Hopper's conversation with Wes Helms' kid was good, too.
Yeah, little Wes has been down on the field with Pop. shagging, running around, having some fun with the players. What a great experience for young kids that get that opportunity.
Xavier Nady fouls it off, and it's 2-2. Were your boys old enough?
My opportunity to get them down on the field was more when I was broadcasting, but they had the chance to interact with the major league players, though.
Struck him out. Badenhop strikes out Nady. All right, let's listen to Hopper all mic'd up.
I mean, you'd think you'd have to be good looking to be on TV, but our crew just completely debunks that myth, huh? No? Except for Niner does a good job. Really debunks that myth. I haven't used that in a sentence in a while.
Debunks.
One of the baseball intellects that you'll run into in the game, Burke Badenhop. Chopper, and Dobbs charging it, misplays it, and he'll pick up an error. Melvin Moore is aboard on an E5.
They charge this ball, and you hope you get a decent hop. And Dobbs got that in-betweener, kind of kicked on him. He'll be charged with an error.
And so Melvin Moore is aboard. Here's Henry Blanco. It's the Marlins' first error of the ball game. Liner to right. Stanton is over, and he's there, and he makes the catch. Badenhop a scoreless 6, but the Marlins bats need to get going.
Y es presentado por KFC.
There they are, Cookie and Raul.
How you guys?
Hi, guys. Hey, I have a question for both of you, because over here, every now and then my partner, Tommy Hutton, goes on a rant. And Tommy had a rant earlier today about swinging at a first pitch fastball if you're going to do it.
I don't mind if you swing at the first pitch. But pull it foul, hit it on the nose, hit it hard somewhere. Don't pop it up to the opposite field.
So my question is, does Cookie ever go off on a rant over there?
The only other time that he'll go on a rant worse than that would probably be when an umpire gets involved. Like, let's say, Angel Hernandez at second base, and he starts jawing at the batter. Other than that, that's probably right up there with pet peeves for Mr. Rojas.
You know, especially last night. You know, we get to the 8th inning with 2 runs down, you know, or 4 runs down, and we came back with 5, whatever. And you get Cogla come up on the first pitch, pops up. The second guy in the lineup also first pitch and popped up. And you got to take a pitch in those situations. I mean, if you get on base, what you need is men on bases. Nothing happened if you hit a home run anyway. So sometimes, you know, you get upset with that. They should be a little more patient at the play in that respect if the game calls for that, you know.
See, I think I'd like to hear that in Spanish. And I think next time I'll send Tommy over to that booth. Cookie, you come over here. Tommy, you can rant in English over there. Cookie, you can unload over here.
It'll sound really cool, but it'll be hard to follow because he's going to be talking really fast.
We can be diverse in our rants.
True.
All right, guys.
All
have
right,
a good
guys.
show.
Thanks, you too, guys.
Okay. We had a tough day for Greg Dobbs. He has struck out twice. And Daniel Hudson working into the 6th with Dobbs, Bonifacio, and Hayes scheduled up here in the 6th inning. Struck him out.
Well, he's got Dobbs 3 times in this one. 2 swinging. And this fastball, look at the movement on that fastball coming back and catching the plate. Greg Dobbs now 0 for his last 14.
Bonifacio has tripled and bounced out. 4 runs on just 5 hits for the Diamondbacks. No runs, 6 hits for the Marlins. You made a good point during the break that though he's pitched 2 games in the big leagues now, Brad Hand has no idea what it feels like for his team to score a run for him.
Yeah, his team has not scored a run for him in his 2 appearances.
11 innings worth, and no runs in those 11 innings. Hudson, if he keeps this up, is headed towards his 7th win. 0-2 in the dirt. This guy's 5-1 since late April. Diamondbacks had that great May, and that has propelled them into the race in the West. Hudson just keeps punishing Marlins hitters. Tickets of America Interactive poll. Tommy, you have any opinion on this one?
I would go with the weather here. Give me a little hot. Give me a little humidity. Good for the skin.
Here's Brett Hayes. Hayes singled in the 4th. He lined out in the 2nd.
Yeah, Hudson with 7 strikeouts, just 1 walk in this game. And 1 more out, he'll make it 10 straight outings where he's gone 6 or more innings.
And this Diamondback staff, I don't think a lot of people looked at it at the start of the year and said, you know, these guys have got a pretty good rotation. But with the start that Josh Colmentor has had, Ian Kennedy, a good start. Kennedy's now 7-2. And as we pointed out, Hudson since late April has been outstanding. Put it together with a bullpen that had a very good month of May. And that's why Arizona is just a game behind San Francisco.
You know, the Marlins will see tomorrow night in the finale of this series. They'll see a left-hander that they've seen over the years with the Pirates, Zach Duke. And Zach Duke is 0-5 with an ERA over 6 in his career against the Marlins. So Ricky Nolasco, 5-1 in his career against Arizona, 4-1 on the year. So you look at that matchup and say the Marlins should have a chance to win.
Brett Hayes just keeps hitting. Down the right field line, Hayes to 2nd, and he's got a double. So 2 more hits for Hayes in this start. And Scott Cousins comes to the plate.
Well, the hands down low, he's able to get to that pitch that's down. Probably if a pitcher sees that, they'd try to pound him up high, but good swing by Brett Hayes. He picks up his 2nd hit. And here he is making his 9th start of the year.
By the way, are at home tonight against Cincinnati. Reds knocked Tim Lincecum around last night. Here's Cousins. Cousins takes ball 1. Pinch hitting has been not an easy chore for Cousins.
Well, he's just never done it a lot. He's always been an everyday player.
Off the end of the bat, it scoots out to Drew, and Cousins out at first. Inning over, and the Marlins leave another in scoring position.
Talk about a game of inches. Watch a little bit of trouble getting out of the batter's box. It's kind of tangled up, a little trouble, has to brace himself. Then Scott Cousins gets it going, but look how close this play is. Just out by half a step. You go back to a little struggle getting out of the batter's box. He may have gotten himself an infield hit. New pitcher. Saw a good inning by Burke Badenhop. Now Steve Cishek comes in, and he has been absolutely tremendous. We've talked about him. He picked up his first major league save the other night.
The Marlins got 5 innings out of Brad Hand. The Hopper goes for an inning in the 6th. And this guy has gone the distance for the Diamondbacks. Daniel Hudson. Hudson, then the top of the order, Willie Bloomquist and Ryan Roberts. As you pointed out from the outset, it's a day where Kirk Gibson's been able to get some of the guys off the bench in there because of a left-handed starter, which means he's got some real potent left-handed bats if he needs them.
Well, and it's a lot different when your starter. Last night, Ian Kennedy went 8 innings. Javier Vazquez 3 2/3. Hudson's still strong. He looks like he's going to go 7 or 8 in this one. So that makes a world of difference with your bullpen.
Yeah, when you fall behind in the National League and your starter doesn't go that deep, by the time you get to the 7th or the 8th inning, you've already burned up 2 or 3 pinch hitters.
Steve Cishek has 9 appearances in his major league career.
Into right field, Stanton picks it up, fires to first, and safe at first.
You know what?
That's that Little League play. Where
if Stanton had come up a little more like an infielder, he may have had a shot. And if you watch Hudson, he started out of the box slowly and then realized what might happen, and he turned it on a little bit. But Mike kind of unwinds. It takes him a while to make the throw. Here comes Mike. Now watch. There's a couple of steps, the big throw. If he comes up and throws a little quicker like an infielder, may have a shot. But a good effort and a good thought.
Hudson beat the throw and stayed out of the way of Gabby Sanchez.
Hudson getting his 8th hit of the year.
Here's Bloomquist.
But Cishek, in his appearances at this level, 9 appearances, he's tossed 12 2/3 scoreless innings. And that's established a club record at the beginning of a career.
His manager has described him as a strike thrower. And that kind of goes along with what we were talking about last night, where you call a guy a professional hitter, and people will say, well, they're all professional hitters. And you hear a manager call a reliever a strike thrower, and a lot of people's reaction is, shouldn't they all be strike throwers? It's 2-1 to Bloomquist. Got Ryan Roberts and then Justin Upton.
I guarantee you Bloomquist thought he was going to see fastball, and Cishek threw him a good slider.
So it's 2-2. Fastball, ground ball might be 2. Infante. Nice turn by Bonifacio. Tell you what, those two work well together.
After the breaking ball, watch what Cishek does. He runs that fastball in on the hands. That starts the double play because Bloomquist doesn't have a good swing. And then Infante turns it over to Bonifacio.
That's a gorgeous look in Foxmo. Perfect feed, quick release. Roberts now homered back in the 3rd. All the runs coming against Brad Hand. 3 of them earned. That 1 run unearned because of the pass ball. Brett Hayes back in the 3rd. Ball and a strike. Well, it doesn't get any easier for the Marlins. They have struggled at a point in their schedule where they've run into some hot teams. They certainly did with the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. The Braves got them. The Marlins go up for 4 games in 3 days in Philadelphia and then take on the Rays.
Well, the Marlins have had the worst thing happen to them that you can have happen in a season. You get cold, you get a few injuries, and you match up against hot teams and good teams during that time. That's not a good combination.
The ironic thing is that at the very start of this, the Marlins were coming off a 3-game sweep against one of the better teams in the National League on the road in San Francisco. A 3-game sweep with the Giants, and then lost 2 of 3 in Los Angeles, 2 of 3 in Arizona, and it was on the losing streak that was. Cishek, another scoreless inning to his nice start in the big leagues.
to win a trip for two to see us play in San Diego, August 19th through the 21st. Trips include airfare, hotel, and tickets to all 3 games. Don't wait. Stop by your local Metro PCS store today. Metro PCS, wireless for all.
Time now for our Just for Men look forward at the Marlins' upcoming schedule. Tomorrow night, this series concludes. It's a 4-game wraparound series. Then it's on to Philadelphia for 4 games in Philadelphia, day-night doubleheader, and a day game on Thursday, believe it or not. And then 3 games against the Rays before back home, and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim arrive. Just as you look forward to the Marlins schedule, you can live forward with Just for Men hair color. Well, the man of the day is standing right there, and that's Daniel Hudson, the 24-year-old out of Virginia Beach, the former White Sox 5th-round draft pick. His first full year as a Diamondback, and he's on a nice run right now. He gets the top of the order, Chris Coghlan. All 4 times that Coghlan has come to the plate, he has led off an inning. He's popped out, struck out, and popped out.
Tough day so far for Chris Coghlan, who was 2 for 4 against Hudson in Arizona.
He's got company, though. There's a lot of guys that have struggled. Greg Dobbs has struck out 3 times. Mike Stanton has popped out 3 times. That Arizona bullpen starting to loosen up. Marlins trying to get something going. Coghlan takes a fastball for a strike. Seven strikeout day for Hudson.
They kind of knew that he was destined to get here in 09 when Hudson was coming up in the White Sox organization. Between A-ball, AA, and AAA, he went 14-5.
Coghlan sends one into left field. That's a base hit. And so Chris leads off the 7th with a single. Up comes Infante. Hudson right at 100 pitches. Aaron Heilman, who worked last night and finished the ball game, is up. And here is Infante. If this game stays 4-0, chance that we will see the back end of the pen in David Hernandez and J.J. Putz. We saw the youngster Brian Shaw the other night. He looked pretty good as well. No team has won back-to-back games in this series since 2009. That is your Toyota trend. The day starting to grow dark here as clouds are arriving in South Florida. Some rain predicted later on today. Up and in, and he's fallen behind Infante now. Count 3-0.
You remember, he had to hustle up the line last inning. Hudson did. When he hit that ball to right field, got a base hit to right field, and he saw Stanton come up and fire to first base.
Real pitch is low. Infante's aboard, and the Marlins have something going here in the 7th. The question is, how long will Kirk Gibson stick with Daniel Hudson now? Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, on his way out. Yeah, you know, if everything stayed at 4-0, it's probably Heilman. But now that it's 4-0 with 2 runners aboard, Hernandez is up.
Yeah, and I think this is stall tactic a little bit for also Nagy to talk with Hudson, find out how he feels. But I don't think Kirk Gibson's going to go too long with him. It's a warm day. He had to get up the line quickly last inning on his base hit.
Logan Morrison, 2 hits, and he's popped out. So this is 4th AB against Hudson. One and 0. Coughlin's at second and Fonte's at first.
That throws you that 1-0 changeup.
Diamondbacks trying to keep pace with the Giants. They're a game behind them. The Marlins just trying to right themselves. The fish have fallen, and they can't get up. In a 4-0 hole right now in the bottom of the 7th. It's 2-1 to Logan Morrison. Gabby Sanchez, Mike Stanton to follow.
Logan, 2-2. Logan not real happy with himself at that pitch that he missed. But he's a good 2-strike hitter.
Hudson 106 pitches into this thing. Changeup misses low. There's Gabby. We'll see if Morrison gets the fastball here at 3-2.
I tell you what, if Hudson loses Morrison, we'll see Kirk Gibson go to the bullpen.
Logan fouls it back. Stays 3-2. Just 2 walks with 7 strikeouts for Daniel Hudson. It's out, and Morrison walks.
Yeah, he's thrown a lot of pitches lately. We talked about 9 straight starts of 6 or more innings. He's gone 8 starts. His last 8 starts over 100 pitches. And as you mentioned, he's over 100 now.
Hey, see Gibson.
Say, talk to him a little longer. Give me a little more time.
He whistled to Blanco, and then he pointed to the mound, and then he gave the universal sign for talk to him.
And everybody on the field, home plate umpire James Hoy, he knows that.
Hoy actually has kind of followed Blanco halfway out.
Yeah, Edwin knows that in the Marlins dugout.
And here comes Gibson. Going to make the change. Bags are loaded. Nobody out. Marlins down 4-0. A Marooney called to the
When you
bench.
need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
with runners in scoring position, and they finally get Daniel Hudson out of the game, and in comes David Hernandez, who's having a solid season. This right-hander out of Sacramento, California.
Yeah, the Marlins only saw him one time in Arizona. He came in the 8th inning and faced Sanchez, Dobbs, and Stanton and struck them all out. Good power sinker, hard 12-6 curveball.
Gabby Sanchez digs in. First pitch, a fastball for a strike. And it's 0-1. Coughlin opened the inning with a single, and then Hudson walked Infante and walked Morrison. One and one. .40 RBIs for Gabby Sanchez. That leads the Marlins. Drives that to center field. It's hit well. Young back makes the catch. Tagging and scoring is Coughlin. Well, you can't hit a ball much harder than that. Marlins are on the board. Sacrifice fly by Gabby.
Yeah, it's one of those, you're okay, you get in the dugout, guys are giving you high fives, you got the sac fly, but you'd love to have that ball go into the gap. Gabby hit it as hard as he can hit one. Good swing, good approach, and a good at bat in that situation. In the gap, it's probably a 3-run double, but as it is, it's a sac fly, and the Marlins get on the board.
So here is Stanton now, and it's been a frustrating day for Michael. 3 times he has popped out. And Hernandez pumps a fastball right down the middle at 95. It's 0-1. Still got Infante at second and Morrison at first. Stanton has homered in 3 consecutive games. Has 14 home runs since the 1st of May. Fouls that pitch back. That's best in the National League, and it's tied with David Ortiz for the Major League lead since the 1st of May with 14 home runs. 1-2. There's the breaking ball, and down goes Stanton.
Talked about that power 12-6 breaking ball. That was it to Mike Stanton. And David Hernandez, this has been a good move, a good trade for the Diamondbacks. They acquired him from Baltimore, sending Mark Reynolds to the Orioles. Last year, Hernandez 8-8 with Baltimore. Some of those as a starter, some out of the bullpen.
They gave up some power, but they kind of traded strikeouts for strikeouts.
They got power for power in a different way.
Dobbs. And Hernandez catches a corner. It's 0-1. Saw how far Blanco had set up outside. It counts 1 ball, 1 strike. Hernandez, a guy who talks so much about draft picks, where guys are projected and all that. Went to Consumnes River Junior College up in the Sacramento area. That ball skips away, and both runners going to move up. And he wasn't drafted. He was actually signed by the Baltimore Orioles as a free agent. back in 2005.
He gets charged with a wild pitch there.
2-1. And the count 2-2. David Hernandez, 2-2. Dobbs shoots it into the seats. Francisco Liriano has got a no-hitter going against the Texas Rangers. He's through 6 2/3 innings up in Minnesota.
And Minnesota has a 1-0 lead.
Breaking ball, little flare out to left. Bloomquist is there, and he makes the catch. So out of the bases loaded, nobody out spot, the Marlins can squeeze out just a run.
Against some of the servicemen for the U.S. serving in Afghanistan, and talk a little bit about that and other items. The captain of the U.S. Army, Arthur Reiser, is here, who is also working with the Rehab with the Troops program, which is really a neat thing you guys are doing. Yes, welcome.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks to be here. Thanks for having me.
Tell me about the program.
It's a very simple program. It's to enable and to energize soldiers that are wounded to get them back on their feet by just starting out with something small, exercising through a video console. We exercise with each other throughout the nation, and then move on to bigger things, and do triathlons and things like that.
Wounded Warrior, here's your service dog Danny is with us today, and tell us about this pros versus GI Joes the guys are going to be doing after the game.
Well, that's really neat. When you're overseas, sometimes all you need is a distraction to keep you, quite frankly, sane. And the program's set up where we have professional athletes play online with guys that are actually in combat. So your Marlins are going to be playing with Marines and Army, ground pounders in the dirt, and they're going to play live on over the internet.
Like Call of Duty or one of those games?
Yeah, they play Call of Duty Black Ops is what that's the fan favorite. So.
You guys, you have an edge because you have the real life experience.
Well, it's a little bit different, but a mouse and a trigger. But yeah, I think we have some good instincts. But these guys are fast. You know, Marlins are fast.
How are you doing? Wounded warrior yourself. You served in Iraq, and you got a pal to help you out. How's it going?
And one day at a time. I have a lot of friends, a lot of family that's cheered me on, and I'm in the rehabilitation stage. So my focus now is to try to help the next generation of guys that are coming through. So I'm a coach for rehab with the troops, and trying to get the next. There's guys come back all the time, so that's my focus right now.
Captain, good seeing you. Thanks for your service, and good talking to you. And have some fun with the Marlins today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Nothing like coming out to a baseball game, a little piece of Americana for all of us, guys. Back to you.
It's a good story, and certainly the Marlins' involvement with the military runs pretty deep. Stephen Drew at the plate. Steve Cishek continues on. He got a strikeout of Justin Upton. Drew to be followed by Chris Young in the top of the 8th. 4-1 Arizona. Drew has a couple of hits, and he fouls it back to the screen. The Marlins have left 11 on base in this one.
And they've gone 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
Drew runs into that one, sending Morrison back. Lomo plays it off the wall. Morrison's getting better at playing balls off the wall rather than running into them.
Well, it's a whole identification process. When you start going back on a ball, you identify that you're not going to get it. It's going to be over your head and off the wall. So then once you make that decision, you peel back and play the count. So he realizes that. He comes back and does a nice job.
Stephen Drew now with 6 hits in this series. And here's Chris Young, who was singled twice and bounced out.
Yeah, Drew with a couple of doubles and a single today. Young was one of those guys, remember, he hit that line drive to short that Bonifacio made a nice play on against Cishek when he came in to save that game.
As well as Cishek has pitched, that save is probably the hardest he's been hit. Even though he got the save, he had that shot that Bonifacio made the stop on, and then Stanton ran one down on the warning track in right field.
Yeah, Montero hit that one.
That ball's hit to left. Morrison over. Logan makes the catch. Couple outs here in the 8th inning, and Xavier Nady is coming up. As you can see, the raindrops have started to fall here. Getting to be that time of the day where in the summer the rain usually arrives. Usually just after batting practice starts for a night game.
Which I remember, and it always was one of those little things I'd rant on. I know you find that hard to believe, Rich. But when they used to play 4 o'clock Sunday games here. And I know it was done because of the heat in the dead of summer. But more often than not,
4 o'clock games wouldn't start at 4
or
o'clock.
5 o'clock, here comes the rain.
Well, the beauty of the roof in the new ballpark is you can start the game whenever you want to start the game. Oh, 2.
You know, there's so much more to that, too. I think it's tough a lot of times. We talk about players, how they have preparation and repetition. You can do that because they're always going to be able to hit on the field at the same time, as opposed to maybe having batting practice cut short because of rain and going inside, hitting in the batting tunnel.
And for fans as well, there's a little more incentive now if you're coming to a ball game next year to come out early because you can watch batting practice, because there will be a batting practice.
And you don't have to check the weather to find out what it's going to be like. I know sometimes, and this happens in parks when the Marlins are on the road, the way batting practice is set up, usually you're going to see maybe the tail end of the home club, but you're going to see the visiting club take batting practice. And that's the way it's set up.
Stephen Drew is set up at second base. With 2 outs in the 8th, Cishek working on Xavier Nady. Count full, 3-2. That would be Melvin Mora. Got him. Steve Cishek. 2 scoreless innings. An outstanding effort from that young man from Massachusetts. Down by 3. Emilio Bonifacio. Brett Hayes behind him. David Hernandez came in and finished off the 7th. Actually got the 3 outs after the Marlins loaded the bases against Daniel Hudson. Bonifacio takes a strike. He's tripled, bounced out, and struck out. It's been a game in which the Marlins have had opportunities. They've left 11 on base. As Tommy has pointed out, they don't have a hit with a runner in scoring position.
Boy, we've talked about those 2 areas way too much this homestand.
This homestand and stretching into the end of the last road trip, the Los Angeles series and the Arizona series. 2-1 coming. And a generous strike zone there.
The grounds crew getting at the ready. It's coming down a little bit harder right now.
Everybody getting their last minute instructions.
Pre-game huddle.
Have we seen them in action in the middle of a game yet this year? I don't think we've seen them come over the
no, I think the
boards.
only delay we had was right initially at the beginning of a game. Had that a little bit last night. And one other time.
Full count, 3-2. Smacked into left center field. Emilio Bonifacio. Good play by Young. to cut it off, and Bonifacio has himself a single. So 2 for 4 is Bonifacio. He's got 6 hits in the series, including 3 doubles and a triple.
Under other circumstances and a different score, Bonifacio tries to get to second base. As he hits this ball well, Young makes a good play. He's thinking second base all the way, but he has the play in front of him. He gets a little upset with himself when he sees the throw offline, but you don't know the throw is going to be offline. But because your club is down 3 runs, he's got to play it that way. Bonifacio has 8 hits now in his last 15 at bats.
That one pops out of the glove of the catcher Blanco and lands right where Blanco was standing.
Should be a pass ball on the veteran. He looks in his catcher's mitt first, and that allows Bonifacio plenty of time to get to second.
Boy, just want base runners right now. Hernandez battling the rain. And Hayes goes after a high fastball. Ball and a strike. 2 more hits for Hayes. His average up to 342. A single. That was in the 4th. The double in the 6th. It is a little thing, but it's worth pointing out that Hayes was at the plate in the 2nd. Bonifacio at 3rd and 1 out. And Hudson sawed him off. A 1-1 pitch on his hands, broke his bat, and then he sent a soft little liner out to the pitcher. Marlins did not get that run. Hayes again going out of the zone after that fastball.
And that's true. It is one of those little things. You look back, that was in the 2nd inning, but you know it's a possible run. And we're not putting it all on Brett Hayes. If that run comes in, it's a 2-run game. Makes it a lot different.
In the air and down the line, Upton full speed ahead. And it's out of reach of everyone, just beyond the wall. Diamondbacks bullpen. Heilman's back up. Patterson is up as well. Remember, the Diamondbacks had to go to Hernandez in the 7th, and he got all 3 outs in the 7th. Here he is, 2-2 on Brett Hayes in the 8th. Wes Helms with the pitcher spot on deck. Helms has a bat, and it looks like he will take the pinch hitting appearance after Hayes strikes out on a David Hernandez curveball. Here comes Helms.
Yeah, you look at the overall numbers of Wes Helms, 222 batting average, just 4 RBIs, but starting to come on a little bit better off the bench. 6 for 20 now as a pinch hitter.
Hernandez gets strike 1. Coughlin is on deck. Rain falling harder.
Ryan Webb getting ready in the Marlins bullpen. So both bullpens are busy right now.
That's away, and it's 2-1.
get to sit for 7 innings and go out and pinch hit in the rain.
Helms pulls it. Foul. Now by the grounds crew, which is standing at the ready in case they're needed. Count 2-2. Hernandez has shown that he can finish batters with his breaking ball. Did it to Stanton, did it to Hayes. Stayed with the fastball to Helms, 2-2.
I think we've seen a lot of pitchers try to pound Wes Helms up with high fastballs if they have a good fastball, especially with 2 strikes. Now, Hernandez did it there. He could stay there, or he could go back to that curveball, which is a good pitch for him, too.
Breaking ball, strike 3 called.
And that's what he went back to.
So all 3 of his strikeouts have come on this pitch.
And the reason it's effective, you get your eyes leveled to that high fastball, and he starts that breaking ball about at that level, and then it drops in for a strike. I think Gibson's going to make the move to his lefty, Patterson, to face Coghlan.
Here's a Maroon, he called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Marooney!
Struck out Brett Hayes, and he struck out Wes Helms. Joe Patterson out of the Diamondbacks bullpen, and he comes on to face Chris Coghlan. And a big sweeping curveball for a strike. Coghlan got one of those big sweeping curveballs and hit it for a double back in the 8th inning. Bonifacio moves up to third base. Blanco seems to be having some difficulties behind the plate. So Chris singled against Patterson in game 1 of the series. Goes as a wild pitch. Coghlan went to go towel off. Then he comes back with a count 1-1.
A little tougher to focus and concentrate.
Little soft pop out into center. Young streaks in, and he makes the catch. And the Marlins leave their 12th base runner of the game. on the plate and on the mound. Ryan Webb is the new Marlins pitcher. Another short start for the Fish. Javi Vasquez went 3 2/3 last night. Brad Hand goes 5 innings today. So an inning of Burke Badenhop, 2 innings of Steve Cishek, and Ryan Webb gets the 9th.
That's a common theme. We've had the many men left on base, the 0 for 11 runners in scoring position, and we've had outstanding work from the bullpen. Once again, we had a nice inning from Badenhop, 2 good innings from Cishek, and now Ryan Webb comes on.
You know, the funny thing, at this time last year, the biggest issue with the Marlins was the bullpen. It wasn't scoring runs. You know, obviously the defense last year wasn't all that good, but the starting pitching last year was pretty solid. It was that Marlins bullpen that was one of the biggest issues that Freddie Gonzalez and Edwin Rodriguez had to face.
There are a lot of ways to look at it, the offense and the struggles. They're mostly young players, so that's part of it. They're young players who mentally and physically, I think, have gotten a lot of wear and tear on them early on here because of the situation. And because of the bench's situation, you don't have veterans or anybody to plug in, so they have to keep going out and playing.
Melvin Mora, Henry Blanco, and then a pinch hitter we expect against Ryan Webb.
And I would imagine with this a save situation, at least it is now, we will see the Diamondbacks closer, J.J. Putz,
who blew a save against the Marlins in Arizona on the John Buck home run. Into center, Coughlin has it fall in front. Melvin Mora muscles one into center. A 9th inning base hit, and here comes Blanco. And that, you know, your point about the bench is illustrated by just looking across the diamond on a day where, because a left-hander is out there and a day game after a night game, Kirk Gibson gives some of his regulars a day off, and yet the Diamondbacks are 3 outs away from getting a win.
Well, they're still able to put a formidable lineup out there. And then you think about the Marlins bench, and in a perfect world, 2 of the guys that would be on the bench coming off and helping, Greg Dobbs and Bonifacio, are on the left side of the infield.
And have been playing every day for the last month and a half. It's a wild pitch. Blanco trying to move more up to third as the Diamondbacks try to stretch another run out of this.
So as the Marlins are stuck in this dilemma, there isn't a one fix cure-all. There are a lot of things that need to be fixed.
Ground ball up the middle does the trick for Blanco as Infante throws him out.
Well, he did his job. The veteran, Henry Blanco, he stayed back and just was able to get that ground ball to the right side to get Mora over to third.
Set up a at bat for Gerardo Parra. It's going to bring the infield in. Marlins trying to choke off this run. Parra's had an active series, as you can see. 2 of the 3 hits were last night, an RBI triple and a single. Fly ball, left field line, long run, Morrison. Fair ball off the wall. Parra, a pinch hit double. And the Diamondbacks lead is back to 4.
Yeah, they're just doing a lot of things right. And Gibson sends up Parra, who's had playing time, so he's not like a pinch hitter. He's not like a Scott Cousins that you send up there and gets one start every month. He's a pinch hitter that's in there all the time. And what does he do? He comes through with a big double to add on and give them another run.
Bloomquist. Bloomquist, another good example. Here's a guy getting his first start of the series, and yet he has 107 at bats on the year. Fouls it back. Bloomquist has walked a couple times and is lined out.
Yeah, you look at the that's a great point, Rich, because if you start looking at the at-bats of the Diamondbacks, guys who aren't in there every day, you have Mora with 112 at-bats. You mentioned the 107 by Bloomquist. Nady, another one, 113 plus what he's done today. And the one guy that has few at-bats is a guy they just brought up a couple of weeks ago, is Sean Burroughs, and that's it. It's interesting if you think about it. If you think about these two rosters individually, you might lean Marlins way. But if you think about the rosters collectively, you'd lean Diamondbacks way.
Because it's deeper.
Yeah, much more so.
The umpires right now out on the mound, and I think they want the grounds crew to come out and put a patch job out there.
Because the rain isn't too bad right now. Actually, it's lightened up a little bit.
Now the footing is just an issue out there with Ryan Webb.
But it is a good roster, and if you look at the Diamondbacks, I think because we've seen them, we've seen the Giants. The Giants continue with injuries now with Freddie Sanchez going down. They did sign Bill Hull. The Diamondbacks come into play today, a game behind San Francisco, and I think they're going to be in it all year with the type of club that they've shown us anyway.
And a division that seems to be down from last year. The Padres certainly are nothing like they were.
Nor are the Rockies.
Nor the Dodgers.
Nor the Dodgers, that's right.
One note in baseball, Francisco Liriano has lost his no-hitter in the 8th inning. Looks like Adrian Beltre of the Texas Rangers with a line drive single to center.
Now there have been more attempts. I read an article a while back, more games this year that have gone 5 innings into the 6th inning of no-hit baseball than ever.
And the Marlins have been involved in a lot of those.
Yeah, and I think that's a sign of the times. It's certainly maybe shifting a little bit toward pitching.
Tom Hallion under his watchful eye, the grounds crew done. Willie Bloomquist will resume this AB.
How about in the American League Central coming into play today? The Indians and Tigers are tied. After the Indians got off to that unbelievable start, they have really come back to the pack, especially the Tigers.
The Tigers got Olivo'd today. Our good friend Miguel Olivo homered twice. And Seattle beats Detroit 7-3.
And the Yankees are beating Cleveland 8-1, so that'll kind of stay the same.
One-two broken bat. Webb's got the runner hung up. Fires it. Bonifacio makes a great catch. Dobbs running Parra back is going to tag him out. Tell you what, the play that Bonifacio just made was not an easy one. He had to make an adjustment on what looked like a throw that might have ended up in left field.
Yeah, and I thought that Ryan Webb maybe got rid of it a little too soon, but he makes a heads-up play to check the runner first off. Now he checks. You want to run a little bit more toward the runner, circle around, going back to second base, but the Marlins able to complete it 1-6-5, and you're right, a good adjustment by Bonifacio. He has to reach for it, and then as he catches it, he sees Parra heading toward third. So yeah, good play by Bonnie.
Ryan Roberts now. Bloomquist is at first. Diamondbacks have added a run here in a soggy ninth inning. Yeah, Miguel Olivo, a two-run shot late in that ball game. Justin Smoke also homering, and Seattle wins it 7-3. 0-2. National League, the Cubs have lost their lead in Philadelphia. It's now 4-3 Phillies in the bottom of the 8th. The Mets are pounding the Pirates 7-0.
And that's not good news. Well, it is for Mets fans. But the Mets will draw within a half game of the Marlins.
Stanton makes the catch, and the Marlins down to their last 3 outs, trailing in this one 5-1. Constantly working to make its system stronger, smarter, cleaner, even more efficient to offer reliable service today and for years to come. Visit FPLConnect.com to learn more. 5-1, Arizona on top of the Fish. 9 hits apiece, but look at the runners left on base. And the Marlins have Aaron Heilman to contend with in the 9th with Infante, Morrison, and Gabby Sanchez up.
And the Marlins have had base runners, a base runner at least in every inning. I was looking ahead at looking at some of the scores. We mentioned the Yankees 9-1 against Cleveland. I was checking on Jeter. A couple of hits. He's 7 hits shy of 3,000.
Counts 1 ball and 1 strike. Last night we were talking about possible realignment in baseball. And Buster Olney is the one, I think, that wrote that article in a follow-up piece to a little more discussion about how it would look and feel. Pitches outside. And, you know, we were talking about obviously one team needs to move from the National League back to the American League. Houston being one of the possibilities. That ball is fouled. The other, in his follow-up article today, a source says, the Florida Marlins.
Put them in the same league with the Rays over the other coast. I think it kind of, in a way, it goes back to old-time baseball when you had 16 teams. You had 8 teams in the American League, 8 teams in the National League, and the 2 first-place teams played in the World Series. Now, the difference, obviously, you have playoffs. You'll have the first 5 teams making the playoffs. So you kind of look at it that way.
In that article, in Olney's column today, this jumps out. The most telling thing to date is that nobody has started to scream bloody murder over the proposal. There are executives who want it on the management side, and there are players who want it on the players' side. Change could be coming soon. Logan Morrison.
And I think the basic agreement is up after the 2012 season, or is it up after this year?
I believe it's up after this year.
Okay.
That's why the Players Association.
That's why things are surfacing.
And baseball, they've been working on it already for at least 6-8 months. And at first, you know, your first reaction to news like that is, oh boy, if the Marlins got in that American League, in with teams like the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Rays, that's a tough one to get out of. But remember, it's just the 5 best teams in that league. Morrison drives it to center, hits it pretty well. Young is back there and makes the catch. So if you finish your 4th or 5th out of 15 teams, you're in the postseason.
Well, and look at it this way. You go into a new ballpark, you'll have a few series against the Yankees and the Red Sox, too.
Yeah, but they're going to have to sedate you because of the designated hitter.
Yeah.
Here's Gabby Sanchez.
Sedate. I worked with American League teams, though, so
we've medicated.
I dealt with it.
We've medicated Tommy, so we're ready for the first inning. Here's the DH coming to the plate. It's 2-0. But Houston was the other team, and that's that move would make some sense too, going to the American League with the Texas in the American League, pushing another American League team closer to the West. Allen throws a strike, and it's 2-1. This was a ball game in which Brad Hand made his second big league start, wobbled, gave up 4. A game in which Daniel Hudson made his second start against the Marlins in 12 days and pitched well. Sanchez to right, Upton diving, can't get it. It's on the ground, and Gabby's got himself a double. The Marlins are still alive. Here comes Stanton.
Yeah, good to stay alive. Gabby slices this ball, and he's thankful he didn't hit it squarely. It's been on the end of the bat. It tailed away from the right fielder, Justin Upton, and for Gabby Sanchez, that's his 16th two-base hit.
Stanton 0 for 4. 3 pop-ups and a strikeout. One and one. Diamondbacks and Marlins finish the series tomorrow night. Ricky Nolasco and Zach Duke. Now it's 1-2. Hyman has that great changeup. Oh, no. And Stanton did not go on that changeup. It's 2-2.
Yeah, he threw it. He tried to get Mike to commit.
Not that time, though. Same pitch, different result. Stanton strikes out for the second time tonight. An 0 for 5 for Big Mike. And the Diamondbacks have taken this third game of this 4-game set. Marlins Live is coming up